Hello, it's Wednesday, so it's time for Woolly Hats Wednesday Wits. Last week, you might remember, I started a stash busting blanket, so I've been doing quite well on this. Here we go. So here we go, so there it is, lots of different colours, and I'm using all the lots of cheap Aldi wool and Stylecraft and stuff like that. It's all sort of acrylic stuff. I used to be very good with my stash. I used to only buy stuff for a specific project, but since starting Woolly Hat, I have been tempted to buy lots and lots and lots of yarn. So I thought in lockdown I'd use some of it up. So I thought I'd show you some of my other stash busting projects to give you some inspiration that I've done over the years. So this is a throw, and it's lots of different colours. This is knitted. And usually I would advise people, if they're doing a stash project, to try and keep the yarns the same, but this breaks all the rules because we've got mohair in there, chunky, Aran, wool, bobbly stuff, multicoloured stuff, and I basically just knitted different squares using two types of yarn in each square, so that's why it comes out stripy. But I used size 8 needles, so that's very big, so it's lovely and light and fluffy, and that came out quite nice. So that's one idea for you. Of crocheters, this is granite stitch, so this is just using 3 colours of yarn. This is a cushion cover. And if you use 3 colours, you don't have to cut off the ends. You can just carry the yarn up the edge, which is always good because sewing in the ends is not everybody's favourite job, is it? So that's that one. This is an example of one where I've used similar types of yarn again. So that's just using a V-stitch, a simple V-stitch in crochet. So you don't have to do fancy pantsy steps. You can do that, or a granny square cluster. But by changing your stripes, you could make that quite interesting. So this is a throw, but you could do a smaller version for a cushion cover. So again, this is an example of a granny square cushion cover. So basically just doing one huge granny square using lots of different yarns and different colours. So that's another example. And then finally for knitters, finally, I've got another one as well. This is another cushion cover. So this is basically, I did long strips of knitted, just garter stitch. So not even knit and purl, it's garter stitch. So long stitch and then sew them together to make a cushion cover using different coloured yarns. So I think there's 5 different colours there. So that's one. And then this is one of the very earliest stash projects I did. This is a blanket, a little blanket which I have on the sofa, made of different yarns from different projects I had when I very started to knit. So it's almost like a memory blanket. So I'm saying, well, that was when I knitted this and this and that. So that's quite nice. But instead of doing squares, lines like that, what I've done, I'll see if we can show you there. So this is done on the diagonal. So every 2 rows you increase, which is why you can see the nice little eyelets there. That's yarn over. And then as you're going on the other side, you decrease every 2 rows so that you get a nice diagonal foot effect. And that's quite nice because sometimes I find when you're just knitting squares in lines, sometimes you underestimate how much you've done, so you don't always get a square. Whereas if you do it on the diagonal, you generally get the same square size all the way around. So that's just a number of squares knitted together. So there's some stash busting ideas for you. Of course, there are also things like hats and hand warmers. They're great, and even if you haven't got enough wool to do the whole lot, if you merge wool together, then or yarn together, that will give you a lovely project to do as well. So I hope you have had some inspiration and might try getting rid of some of your stash before buying some new stash in the future, and do show us what you're working on this week. Bye for now.